Good morning guitarists, welcome back to Squealing Pig Guitars, the home of luxury drum machines here in Nottingham, England. Of course today though I am outside of the studio and we're going to be visiting Andy at Nottingham City Guitars. So if you're a regular viewer of this YouTube channel, you'll know that I've actually visited Nottingham City Guitars a couple of weeks ago. But I'm going back to go and get my new Gibson Les Paul basically set up. And also just check out what Andy's been up to. Obviously he's been building lots of new guitars. So we'll see all of them today. So I'm just heading there now, I think about 5 minutes away. So I'll catch up with you when we're there. So after a short walk, I made my way into Nottingham City Guitars and I had a little look at the guitars he had on display. Some really cool stuff. So as I mentioned previously, as I was walking here to Nottingham City Guitars, one of the reasons I come in today is basically to get my Gibson Les Paul set up. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. It's just on the sides of the frets. It's a little bit sharp.
Well, what can you say? You know, it's not a cheap guitar. It could have been a bit better, I think.
Yeah. So to start off the video, Andy's going to tell us a little bit about fret leveling and recrowning. So let's hear about it now.
So what we'll do, obviously strings off, straighten the neck with the truss rod. The frets will all be dressed, which means they're brought level. Fingerboard will be masked off like that, and then every fret will be marked with ink, like so. And then using a straight edge, I prefer this small one, that's from Crimson. Sandpaper, different grades, there's some in there, look. The whole thing is levelled like that until all the ink has disappeared. So you'll then end up with a bunch of frets that are slightly flat on the top, and then using a crowning file, re-crowned like that.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And then all of the frets are then rubbed up with it's 1000 grade, but it'll be a 600 grade, wet and dry, but used dry. The whole thing is polished on the buffing machine.
Wow, yeah. There's a lot to it then, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. It's not a 5-minute job.
So, is this something people could do on their own, or is it something you really need to work at for a long time to get?
No, I think you probably wouldn't want to be working on a guitar like this for the first time.
Yeah.
But my advice to people when they've asked in the past is, you know, go down to your local pawnbrokers, or in Nottingham, go to the cattle market. They quite often sell guitars and you can pick up a Squire something or other quite cheaply and just practice. But you do need a few tools. You need you know, a leveling beam. The sandpaper is £8 a roll. You need a crowning file or a couple of crowning files. Yeah. A small investment, but you've just got to sit down and try it.
I know for me it's like I've always been get the professionals to do it, but it's just interesting because it's like lots of people are scared of truss rods, right? That's definitely something you can do on your own, because I've kind of learned that myself. But when you're kind of making, because it is a modification, that you are taking material off, you want to know what you're doing, especially when it's a high-end instrument. Yeah,
but I mean ultimately, unless you went absolutely mad, you're not. If you gave up or you couldn't achieve it, you could still bring it somewhere like to me, and then it could be rectified. But
so that was a really interesting conversation with Andy. Obviously, we'll check back in a few days to see how my guitar's getting on. But let me know in the comment section below. Do you guys do your own guitar setups? Do you do fret leveling, crowning, all this type of stuff that we're talking about in this video? Let me know down below. I'm really intrigued to know. So now we're going to go into Andy's workshop and talk a little bit about how his guitars are made. I'm very excited to hear about this as I know absolutely nothing. I'm a complete guitar building novice. So here's Andy's workshop now. We're currently working on the Rock City Mule, right?
Yeah, there's two of these. I was fortunate enough, I don't know, 3 or 4 years back to be given some of the stage flooring that was taken up when they replaced the floor in Rock City. It's Canadian maple, tongue and grooved, about 16mm thick, and I made 4 guitars, limited edition guitars out of them. My classic sort of NCG apostle shape, which is the very curvy one.
Yeah.
And then I had a couple more inquiries, and from the scraps that were left, I've managed to make up this patchwork quilt on the mule body. Easier to do on this because it's a lot more linear and didn't need as much maple in terms of area. Getting near completion, just needs the pickup cavities routing out. And then we've got another one which is further down the line.
They're so unique, aren't they?
Yeah, this has just been finished in sanding sealer, and it will have an alloy control plate, something like that.
Yeah, I really like the mule body. I always like the ledge where you put the binding right here in this little area.
Yeah.
It's cool. And is this going to have the same setup as the Racing Green one?
Yes,
pickups?
it'll be the same pickups. That one, this one will be the Sun Bear pickups, P90 and a Soapbird mini humbucker.
Nice.
And then this is customer specification. This is having humbuckers, but they are cream tea humbuckers. The Bangers and Mash humbucker, which is quite interesting. These were based on originally a pair of Teleneck pickups.
Yeah.
Which I think was either Keith Richards' idea or his tech.
So I have to say, I've learnt so much today. I really enjoyed listening to Andy talk all about the construction of his guitars and the process of building a guitar. And now he's going to show us a couple of blanks of wood that he's going to be turning into guitars shortly. And we also have a little talk about tone wood, which I know is quite the controversial topic. So let's go there now.
That's solid maple for a... I'm going to do a carved top along the lines of a Les, not to look like a Les Paul, but the way a Les Paul's constructed.
I see, yeah.
That's a slab of alder. This, I can't even remember buying. An expert told me it was black limber.
It does look a bit like black limber from the guitars we've had, but I wouldn't know.
Somebody else said it was Carina.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not sure.
So interesting how in this like raw form, like they do look quite similar. Do you know what I mean? Like mahogany isn't as brown or as, I mean obviously they put dyes in it, but it's just interesting because we all think mahogany is this really dark colour.
Right. I mean this stuff is not cheap. You're looking at, can be anywhere from 100 to 120 pounds a piece. Every now and again I get tempted to buy something cheaper. You spend all that time working on it and then it shrinks or it cracks or it bends or warps, you know.
So we might be opening a bit of a can of worms, but what's your opinion on the whole tonewood thing?
It's complete nonsense.
Yeah, because I knew that from when we've spoken previously, but I thought we'd have a little chat about it because I'm sure lots of people have opinions about it.
It absolutely applies to acoustic guitars.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, but not electric guitars. It's all in the pickups, the strings, and really the fingers. You know, you can get a good player can make anything sound.
Yeah, because we had one video where a friend of the channel had brought in two Rock and Roll Relics, like single cut guitars, and the one was like cedar, one was another one, but he said that the rest of the guitar was completely the same in terms of strings and stuff, and there was an audible difference. But would you say then that is more like the discrepancy maybe in the pickup or the string use or whatever? It might just be something that you're hearing.
Yeah, it's very difficult to produce two absolutely identical test models side by side, and then you've still got to have somebody play them in an absolutely identical fashion, or have a machine play them so you know that the velocity with which the string was plucked.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense.
The finger pressure and everything. There's so many things.
Because even the way you play a guitar will obviously make it sound different. So yeah, I get
what I would say is, because I used to deal with quite a lot of vintage guitars, and as I say, I don't believe in the sound at all, but there was something, and it was very hard to pin down, is a lot of the vintage guitars, say like a late 50s or early 60s Telecaster, they do feel good. I think 9 times out of 10 you would favour the old guitar. It's the weight, it's hard to buy wood now that's seasoned and grown in the same fashion that it was. I mean, if you look at a Telecaster that was made in the 50s, there's a very good chance that wood had been in a woodyard for 30 years. Yeah. You know, and it might have been logged in 1910. Yeah. Turned into a plank, sent somewhere and sat in a rack. Yeah. That doesn't happen now. I think it personally influences the sound.
Yeah, is that Telecaster in there that you have in, is that a 60s or is
that's late 60s, that
late
one.
60s.
I've had stuff that's much earlier, and I've got when you pluck that string, you don't want that string making the body vibrate. It's not an acoustic guitar. You want all the energy staying in that string to be and influencing and making the pickup work. So people say, oh, we want the tone wood because it resonates, but in actual fact they want the tone, what they consider to be tone wood, like this mahogany maple sandwich, they want the tone wood to reject the vibrations.
Interesting. When you're picking wood for your guitars, is it an aesthetic thing? Is it just what do you look for a good piece of wood when you're building something?
There's various things. I mean, first of all, you've got to decide what the finish is going to be, because if it's a clear finish or a stained finish where you can see the grain, the aesthetics are going to play a big part, obviously, because people buy guitars for the way they look, the way it feels, how comfortable it is to hold, whether you like the neck width and thickness. A decent quality piece of wood in terms of the way it looks, if it's going to be a clear finish, it's got to be the right weight. It's got to have been properly seasoned. I get mine from a place that specialises in supplying luthier grade, if you want to call it that, wood. It has to machine well, because some stuff doesn't. Some wood will tear when you try and plane it.
Split.
There's lots of different factors, and then I think you end up. I'm tending towards now preferring mahogany.
Yeah.
Just because of the way it works.
So what an interesting conversation. We all love a tone wood debate, so let me know what you think in the comment section below. But now it's time to play some guitars, so let's get a hold of this 1960s black Telecaster with a Bigsby. So here we are, here's the Telecaster that we've just been talking about. I got it going through the Cornell amplification. I believe it's the Romany, I think. But this is the neck pickup with the Bigsby. Let's play a little riff. Now we're trying out one of the NCG guitars. This has a metal body on it, so this is going to be interesting. So I have to say, I think this is one of my favourite NCG guitars I've played, which is really funny because I'd never think of playing like a metallic bodied guitar, but it just has a really nice tone to it, especially on the neck pickup. So really impressed all around. That's a cool one, that.
Like it?
Yeah. So I really like the metal back, it looks awesome. Don't really know what it adds to the sound. I mean, it plays nicely, but...
Tone metal, you see.
And for the final guitar today, let's try out this NCG Bayou in yellow. So guitarists, just got back to the Squealing Pig Guitars studio now, had such a good time at NCG. A big thank you to Andy for showing me around as always and setting up my Gibson Les Paul. If you like these types of videos, make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new. But I guess that's it for today, so I'll see you tomorrow for another video. But until then, keep rocking guys. I'll see you soon.